let me set this up for you because in 2022, she won the girls 14-15 division at drive, chip, and putt at Augusta National. Age 15, she shot a 66 in Monday qualifying, made the cut in her first LPGA event, the Dana Open, and finished T26. She was a member of the Junior Solheim Cup team on the inaugural U.S. developmental team. She became the first amateur in 5 years to win on the Epson Tour, capturing the Greater Toledo Classic. She's verbally committed to Duke University class of 2026. Excited for this conversation. Our guest is Mia Hammond. Mia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to do this.
Absolutely. I'm glad to get you on the podcast circuit because I know the future that you have ahead. There's a lot of podcasts coming, so I'm glad I get to at least be one of the first. But I always want to start with this. Since you're from Ohio, from a northern state, right? Like I've got an affinity for northern states, especially when it comes with golf. But I mean, you grew up, you were playing other sports, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I started off with softball when I was, I think, 5 years old and led a little bit into basketball and then gymnastics. But I think I was around 10 or 11 years old when I decided to solely focus on golf.
How much did gymnastics help, like with balance and everything, you think?
I think it was great, honestly. The only downside I really had to is I just had so many wrist injuries
Right.
over and over. So didn't really go well with golf.
Yeah. And so your dad is what the reason why you got into it?
Yeah, yeah. So he originally, for my entire life, I can always remember him practicing in our basement. We had a golf simulator, and being in a northern state, it's pretty difficult to play golf in the colder months. So having that resource was something that really got me interested in it. Seeing him have fun with it made me, want to spend time with him and try to see what it was all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and I heard on an interview one time on one of the moments in golf when you played like your first event, it's probably like a US Kids. I mean, there's six other girls, you finished sixth, right?
Yeah.
And that seemed to be a big moment because that fired you up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember in the car afterwards, I was talking to my parents and it was just I was so frustrated. I mean, I think I was 7 years old, so I'm sure it was a lot of tears, a lot of anger. And from that point forward, I wanted a medal so bad because the top five received a medal, and that was just my goal from that point forward. And I think 2 years later, I won my first US Kids event, and it's just been up from there.
Yeah, nice. Can you share with us, like, talk to us about like your competitiveness? Are you one of those that, I mean, you have to win at absolutely everything?
I get pretty fired up, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Anything. I mean, I like to play pickleball in my free time too. So, and whoever I'm playing against, I mean, I'm terrible at it, but whoever I'm playing against, like I want to win so bad, and it's like I will do like whatever it takes to win, not just at golf.
Yeah. I've never played, but I played with Blades Brown, so he was my partner.
hmm
And that's a good partner to have. So
Yeah.
that's always a good one. Did they have like pickleball on the developmental national team?
We play a lot of like ping pong and like table tennis, but I don't really
Okay.
think we've had pickleball anywhere yet.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry for the tangent on that one, but um, talk to us about that memory of Augusta National. Obviously, it's a very special place, um, but to win like you did, set us that stage and talk to us about what sticks out to you about that memory.
Yeah, so the beginning was, a little nerve-wracking. They take you off to the side and you're able to go to a separate range and a separate chipping green from where all the competition's happening. And I remember, I don't know for the range exactly, but on the chipping green, we were assigned certain spots. They give you a number 1 through 10, and that's the order you also like compete in as well. And I remember it was really intense. They wouldn't allow us to even walk back up on the chipping green to grab our ball after, you ran out. And so it was just like at that point I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is the craziest place I've ever been." Like it didn't really set in until that moment like I'm at Augusta National.
Hmm.
Um and then driving, chipping, the first couple competitions, it just, it doesn't really spike any nerves that I remember. Like it was kind of just get through that. And then I remember walking to the putting green and they had reordered us based on where we were on the leaderboard. And I was going to be the last person to putt because I was leading at that point. And I remember like just the anticipation of sitting there and waiting for everyone to go. And I knew I think it was like within 4 feet, I had to get both putts. And I know standing over that first one, I was pretty nervous. I remember looking around and seeing all the people that were standing there. I don't really think I even realized how many were there until I watched the footage afterwards and saw, the rows of people that were behind me. But yeah, I mean, it was an incredible moment, an incredible memory, and I'm super grateful it happened. Dry chip and putt's an amazing way for people to get introduced into the game, and it's just, yeah, it was a super cool moment, super cool memory.
Yeah. So what happened on the second putt? Did you have to make that one?
I didn't have to make it, but I think it was still within that maybe 4 foot range of
Okay.
to be able to win, I think is what they said.
Okay. So did it go to the playoff?
There was a playoff for putting. So I made both putts, and so I technically won overall, but there was another girl who also made both putts. So we had to hit the second putt again to see who would win like the putting division.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. And then like when you win that and Condoleezza Rice shaking her hand, I mean, um, how did things change for you then? Like, do you look at yourself and be like, wow, like maybe I'm really good at this?
Yeah, it was an eye-opening moment. After that, I had gained a lot of exposure through the media, and it was kind of the first time I was really ever exposed to things like, TV interviews and podcast and whatnot. And it definitely gave me a lot of experience being able to, be put on the spot and ask questions super quickly. I think more of that than the golf realization part of it. Um, and being surrounded, like you said, by Condoleezza Rice, Nancy Lopez handing me my trophy, which is one of golf's greatest, and
Hmm.
being surrounded by those people, it was truly incredible. Again, the first time I'd ever been exposed to that kind of environment. As I've grown and matured in the game as well, I play with these players a lot more and I've become way more comfortable with them. But those original interactions are something that's helped me up to this point, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you're on your trajectory. I mean, you're on your way up. I mean, you shoot a 66 Monday qualifying, um, T26 in that event. I mean, make the cut. It's awesome. You're on Junior Solheim Cup and then the U.S. Developmental National Team, which I just think, I mean, that being on that inaugural team, talk to us about what that experience was like.
Yeah, it's been amazing. They've given us a ton of resources. I know one thing I've utilized has been a sports psychologist. They also offer personal trainers, which I haven't done personally just because I work with someone locally in Columbus. But being able to, know that I have that option in case I would ever need to make a switch or something would to happen. I think it's been awesome. And the mentorship we have, like our coaches, Coach Zambury and Coach Tiff, they have been amazing, and their experience with the game has been super helpful. Both have coached on the college level, and Tiff played professionally for a few years. So to know her experiences and her side of the story is really cool.
And to talk to us about like when you surround yourself with like so many other great players, that you're all trying to achieve the same thing, but at the same time being on the same team and pushing each other. How does that make you better?
Yeah, one thing I've always done, and this has been for as long as I can remember, I've always tried to play with better players. And being able to surround myself with people that are also on the US national team, knowing their skill level, it I mean it pushes you to get better. We go out, we play like certain matches, certain formats, but it's like you're constantly competing against other people. And to know what you need to do to improve in certain areas, like, some people have a better short game than I do. So to see what, you know, say the greatest junior player is that has the best short game, like knowing what I need to do to get to her level, to see what work I need to put in and see her reps is really, really important. And I think it's definitely been helpful to compete and be with them for a week at a time. Most of them live in the South or in the West, so it's hard to be with them here in Ohio. So having that short amount of time with them is super valuable.
Hmm. I always feel, I mean, it was really a mature answer because I've always felt like I've talked with so many different pros and my pros, it's like you have to look at what somebody does at a certain part of the game and really analyze it, really look at it, be like, what is it from 100 to 120 that makes them so good? Because then
Hmm.
when you see it, right, then you can like, oh, okay, well, if she can do it, I can do it.
Hmm.
That power of modeling, right?
Absolutely.
Um, what's the biggest part of playing with people better than yourself that you feel you've improved upon most like in the years?
Yeah, so I mean, it first started out with just playing in those US kids events, and we were 7 years old, and there were girls shooting even par for 9 holes, and it's like that's just unheard of. My parents used to tell me stories, I would shoot like in the 60s for 9 holes. They thought I was like incredible because we just didn't have any competition where we used to live, and um so once it was kind of past the US kids stage, we had also relocated to an area closer to Columbus, which had a lot more players. And I remember, especially during COVID, our local golf course was open, and that was the only thing that we could do. And I was lucky enough to live in a town where we had a very, very good high school team. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the name, but Kari Hollenbaugh, who plays for Ohio State now, and I think she's ranked 20th in world amateur rankings right now. She's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing player, and I played a lot with her when we were younger. She's, I think, 5 years older than me, but she was in high school and I was entering middle school, and being able to compare my game to hers, I think especially helped as well. And just she's obviously in college now. It's harder to play with her, harder to spend time with her, but um, putting myself in bigger tournaments, better competition, there's always that next level. And
Yeah, absolutely.
being where you stand is always important.
Hmm. What's the strength of your game like mentally?
I'm very confident with my iron shots. Like that's where I feel like I really do well on the course. And sorry.
No, that's all good.
Um, but yeah, and wedges inside of 120, I feel like I can get them pretty close. Used to be off the tee here and there. I still get confident off that, but every now and then I feel myself getting a little shaky, a little nervous. But yeah, for the most part, I'd say iron shots.
Yeah, nice. So, I'd like to talk about the win.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, obviously, I watched you play at the Die Junior. I mean, 3, 4 years ago, and that was my first exposure to you. Always watching it, and then it was always following. But I always wait for one of these moments, then like invite you on there. So I'm glad you were able to come on today with your first professional win, the Epson Tour. Talked about that. Well, I guess before we get into like what it meant and the emotions, like walk us through like how the overall week go for you and like how well did you play? What stands out?
Yeah, so we had spent the whole week in Toledo up before, had my first 9 hole practice round on that Sunday. Um, and then I had a couple of pro-ams. One of them was actually at Inverness, which was a really cool experience. That course is amazing. And
Hmm.
I played pretty well in that pro-am. I think I shot even par, and Inverness is definitely not an easy golf course. So, I had some confidence early in the week, but as the tournament got closer, I started to I guess lose my game a little bit. I think it was nerves leading up into it. And um, my dad and I kind of figured something out on the range. I want to say it was Wednesday. He had told me something in my transition, just slow it down, keep it smooth. I have a tendency to get my lower body pretty fast and lose some shots to the right. And, I didn't really miss a shot for the first couple of rounds. The third round, I lost a few, I think, just because of nerves coming down the stretch and knowing what position I was in. But I think having that fallback and that mindset and knowing like I can trust this was something that really helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things that's always interesting is, I mean, you weren't like in 10th place and then just, had a birdie barrage. I mean, obviously you played well the last round, but you had the lead going in the last round.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a position I'd never been in before on that level. And knowing that everyone was chasing me and I was the one that they were waiting for to slip up. Because I've tried to chase the lead before in different tournaments, but never on the professional level. Um, and just knowing that I had to play steady and I still had to shoot under par to win, was definitely a new experience. In some junior tournaments, you can have a lead by two or three and shoot even par and still win. But
Hmm.
it's like on the professional level, someone can go out and fire 10 under par and get you by three or four. So you have to be on your, I guess, A game no matter what.
Yeah. And so your mentality going in that last round, did you just really kind of stay in your bubble? Did you talk more? I mean, what was your mentality?
I wanted to keep it the same. I wanted to keep it consistent. A big thing for me is like it's good to have my dad on the bag because I don't like to talk about golf in between shots. Like I like to get my mind off of what's kind of going on around me and try to focus on something else. Um, so knowing I had that was super helpful. The last round we did wait a lot more just because of, it was the final group. It was the last day. Everyone was playing a lot slower. I remember on number 9, they had moved the tees up to where you could drive the green instead of it being like a longer par 4. And I think we waited for 30 minutes to tee off on that hole. And it's like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a bad habit of checking the leaderboard. So I took my phone out of my bag on that hole and I saw where someone had tied me up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to have a good like last 10 holes to be able to pull this thing off. And my dad was able to steady me. He was able to keep me positive throughout the rest of the round, which was super helpful.
So when obviously your dad's been around forever.
Yeah.
Um, but so what were some of the things that he was just reminding you to stay present, and what were some of the things you guys were talking about, and what was he doing for you?
Yeah, a couple times the nerves got the best of me. Just like I said, I'd never been in that position before on the professional level. Um, excuse me. And he just had to remind me, like, this is no different than anything else. He's like, I think he said multiple times, like, you've already proven yourself. Like, what happens from here on out is just, I think he said it was just gravy. That's one of his sayings, like, it only gets better from here. Um, and I had made bets earlier in the week. I love Nike shoes. And so
Hmm.
I had said, I made a bet with my mom, like, if I make the cut, like, I'll get this pair. Like, if I get top 10, like, I'll get this pair. And my dad was like, oh, well, like, if you win, like, you can get both pairs. And so, like, we bring that up every now and then throughout the last round. He's like, hey, like, if you want those shoes, like, like, stay positive. Like, you can do this. Like, just
Right.
funny things like that throughout the round.
Do you do that like on a lot of those tournaments? Will you set like kind of those little goals like that?
Every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a bigger tournament. Yeah, here and there. Not very often, but sometimes in the big stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think like having a game within the game is fun, right? It makes it more fun. You have like kind of a different target you're trying to go for, something
Yeah.
levity. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great strategy. Well done.
Thank you.
And so then that moment, like you win.
Hmm.
And you had talked about, I mean, obviously, I always say like in sports, what people don't understand is like you're going to be crying either way. You're crying because of how painful it is, or you're crying because of how hard you worked and how much it meant. And I mean, those were tears of joy that you had.
Yeah.
As you reflect on that moment, talk to us about that moment.
It's everything I've ever worked for, my entire career. I've just, it's everyone's dream to be in that position. And, I had that foot putt left and like my entire body was like physically shaking. And I think I was still shaking 30 minutes later. Like it was like I knew I had accomplished my biggest goal. And being in that moment and surrounded by so many people that I know support me and love me and want to be there for me, it was just so surreal. And I tried to keep my composure, but my mom and my boyfriend was there as well, and they walked up onto the green. And I just kind of lost it at that point. My mom was sobbing. I think my dad cried. So just seeing their emotions made me emotional as well, and knowing the work that I've put in, it really felt good.
Yeah. And with like would you kind of reflect on the last couple years, what talk to us about what that's been like. What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, I've struggled the past couple years with my relationship with golf. It wasn't easy. I played in the junior PGA after the Dana the first year when I finished 26th. And after that I kind of just hit a slump. Like I played in the Mizuho tournament they have, which is like a combined tournament with the LPGA and the AJGA players. And I had signed a wrong scorecard in that first round. I got disqualified.
Hmm.
And like it was an honest mistake. I called it on myself. Like I know I did the right thing, but it was kind of just like that really stings and it's like it's not going to look good on my part. Like a DQ never looks good. And I talked to my sports psychologist about this that I used the US team and she's like it could be like a form of like PTSD, like you're constantly thinking about it in the back of your mind, like what if this happens? And once I recognized that, I kind of got myself out of that mindset, but it was a matter of getting my game back from that point. Because I think like I was so like hyper focused on this one event that happened, like I just couldn't let myself move forward just because of how much it truly did affect me.
The
And
DQ?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, like finally letting that go, I think was what really helped me break through. I've had a couple like okay-ish tournaments this year, like nothing that really stands out besides the Epson event. I did play well in January at the Sally, which they have in Daytona Beach, Florida every year. And, that was a good confidence booster to get the year started. Um, and I've had, I mean, a few top 20s and some pretty good tournaments. But like I could see myself slowly breaking through and knowing that I
Hmm.
was putting the effort in, putting the time in. Like I could see it slowly paying off. It was just a matter of when it was all going to come together. And luckily that was the Epson event.
Yeah. Are you good at patience?
It's taught me a lot of patience for sure. I wasn't before. Like I know um I was always waiting for that big breakthrough and I would try to push it too hard. And I actually played in the Pro-Am at the Greater Toledo Classic with a girl that's from the Columbus area. And one of the questions she asked me is, what would you go back and tell your 14-year-old self? And I was like, I would tell myself to be patient, like just wait. Because like I could have never predicted like those 2 years where I was in that slump because of that one wrong scorecard. Like I could have never like known that was going to happen.
Right.
And when I was pushing for a breakthrough so hard back then that I wasn't getting, and then that happened, I feel like it just added on top of everything that was going on.
Hmm.
And so yeah, just yeah, that's funny you say that. Like I've thought about that a lot, like her question, and there was something that really stuck out to me, and I hope she takes my advice as well.
Mia, I appreciate you sharing that. If it's okay, like, why do you think that stuck with you so much? I mean, I get the power of golf and calling on penalties on yourself. Why do you think that? I mean, because obviously it was a mistake, but can you share? I mean, go in depth with us a little more. Like, why do you think that stuck with you?
I think it's just the fact of like I didn't want people to think I'm a cheater. Like that was just a big thing for me. And like typically everyone's first thought is when they see a disqualification, they think, oh, like she tried to cheat. And I know there's like rumors that go around, like, you know, everyone knows everyone in the golf world. It's a very small world. And things get around quickly. And I just didn't want the wrong thing to get around.
Right.
And so as soon as it happened, like the very next day, I was on Instagram making a post, like explaining the situation, saying like, I called it on myself. It's an honest mistake. Like I definitely wasn't doing it on purpose. But still, it was like if someone doesn't believe that and I get the wrong reputation. And it was also right before my college recruiting window had opened up as well. And that was stressful, very stressful. And thinking like, I might not get a spot at these schools that I want to go to because what if they get the wrong impression of me? Like, what if they think like she did this on purpose? Like, this is something that we have to watch out for. But I mean, I would never do anything remotely close to that. Like, I would never
Right.
try to cheat in any way.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Because I mean, you grown up obviously in the digital world
Mhm.
with what's one of the things that you've had to like teach yourself? Because one thing I know is like about Instagram and TikTok and everything is whenever showing like you never see anybody missing a basketball shot, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all these highlight reels. Like what's one of the things you've really had to pay attention to yourself, like seeing other people develop and yet staying on your own journey?
Yeah. A big thing for me is like I don't like to look up myself. I don't like to see what like people are posting about me. Like I don't want to see that. I even have a separate Instagram account where like I don't follow anything golf related. I just try to keep it like I follow like my close friends on there and that's it. Like I don't post on there. I don't, do anything remotely close to that. Um, and so being able to keep that separate and have a life that's separate from like I guess golf is super important. And most of my friends as well, like none of them play golf. Like my super close
Mm,
friends, my best friends, like it just I want to keep that a separate relationship. And again, with that separate Instagram account, like I'm only seeing my friends post or like things that aren't golf related. And that's been
yeah.
a very big part of my, I guess, virtual life.
Yeah. Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's been a big help for me, I think, especially with the mental side. Like you said, like everyone sees highlight reels, and it's like if you're down on yourself and you're not happy with your golf game and you're seeing all these other people that are succeeding, it's hard.
Hmm. Um, You brought up something I just think is really important because with golf, I mean, it's very easy to think about it 24/7, wake up, and it's always, I mean, you're always striving to get better, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you know, so how can I get just a little bit better today? And I think, yes, up to a point, right? Like there has to be an off switch. What are some of the things you do outside the course to really leave golf at golf?
Yeah, like I said, my friends not playing golf is a huge thing. Like I said earlier, I'd love to play pickleball. That's one of, um, I'm super competitive at it, like I said before, but I still, it's a different sport that I can enjoy that I don't have to worry about injury. And, I'm never going to try to play it competitively, so I don't really have to worry if I'm good or not. So having that as well. And my best friend and I, like, she has a pool in her neighborhood. So, like, once a week, we'll just go to the pool and just hang out for a day and do whatever. Yeah, it's just a big part of my life just to keep friends and golf separate.
Hmm.
And that's just been a huge thing for me.
Yeah. When you're playing, what's the best so if you have like a general week, what's the best I guess flow to how much you're practicing versus like how much you're playing?
Yeah, normally when I'm home, not playing in a tournament, I'll try to go to the course in the mornings if I want to practice. Um, I'm very lucky. We're members at a private club that has, I think, like only 250 golf members. So you pretty much in the afternoons, if you go during the week, that's when you can play and you can just go right out on the tee. You don't have to make a tee time. You can just go out and play, which I think is super, super awesome. It's not something you get a lot here. And so that's been a big part of my balance. It's like if, there's a day when I like say I don't want to get up in the morning, like I'll just sleep in and go play in the afternoon. And then the next morning I'll get up and go practice in the morning or, maybe take a day off like once a week just to, relax and have a day away. And I think that's a good blend for me,
Hmm.
personally. And especially with the days of practice, like I like to get it out of the way in the morning. Not necessarily get it out of the way, but just like get it done and then go focus on other things. Like don't make it like the huge part of my day.
Right, right. You know, I've seen that with so many different pro athletes in sports that let's just say that even if they're in the off season, it's going to be a basketball, football player. They're always training in the morning. They're always done like about, I don't know exactly what time, right? But say it's going to be noon or something like that because they always want that afternoon just to not have to be still trying to get their work in, you know? Sounds like you
Yeah.
do a good job of that.
Yeah, I try my best with it. And especially too, it gets really hot and humid in the summer, and I hate being out in the afternoon when it's really hot. So being able to go in the morning when it's a little cooler is important to me as well.
Yeah. So, after you win, one of the questions I'm always fascinated by is like these mountaintop moments. Like you climb in the mountaintop, you reach the mountaintop, but you always have to come back down. Like I know you played and then the week after, but how long did that feeling last until you were okay, I've got to refocus now.
It was pretty quick, honestly. I want to say, I came home really late that night after I'd won. We only live about 2.5 hours away, so it wasn't that long of a drive, and I wanted to be home just for a little bit. Like personally, I'm kind of a homebody. Like I hate being away from home for a super long time. So if I have the opportunity to like come home and sleep in my bed for literally like 5 hours, like I'll take the opportunity.
Yeah.
And my dad and I had to leave, I think on Tuesday morning. I got home like 1 a.m. Monday. And then we left again like 8 a.m. Tuesday, just because Tuesday was the only day I could play a practice round. So it's like I had that Monday to kind of be like kind of reflect and just get my mind off of it and reshift my focus. But going into that next tournament, I was pretty exhausted. I think just from I had played the week before the Toledo tournament as well in Kentucky, and it was all just kind of catching up to me, like all the travel and stuff like that. But yeah, I think more than anything, the exhaustion got to me and
Mm,
all the emotions that I was feeling kind of just took me down in a sense in that last tournament.
yeah. Was it a different feeling than you're walking around and people are telling you great job everywhere you turn?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I have to say all of the Epson players were super, super nice to me. Everyone told me congratulations. And I think a big thing is like they know what it takes. They know like how it feels to win. They know what it takes to be out there and how much work you have to put in. And I appreciate hard work. I appreciate like people's work paying off, and I feel like that week I was appreciated for that, and it was really cool just to be in that environment and just to know that, these people are actually happy for me, and it's not just like, they don't want to think it's like, oh, this is a one-time thing, that they actually believe that like it was a deserved win.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's really cool because I just think it's one thing I think to get the praise from outside. It's another when your peers are recognizing you. I think that's just a totally different feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you were playing, the Junior Solheim, how fired up did you get doing those matches?
That was so fun. Like that was probably the most fun I've had on the golf course in a very, very, very long time. I did have COVID when I was there.
Oh,
So
did you? Oh,
yeah, I if I was a little healthier, I think I would have enjoyed it even more than I did. It was a grind to get through that week, I'll admit, but looking back, like I'm so grateful. Like my parents like still let me go. They're like, if you're feeling like okay, like go ahead and go. I didn't tell them how I was really feeling because I was like, I want to play so bad. And
right,
it was the only opportunity I was gonna get just because of, I didn't have the status 2 years before, and I'm gonna be too old in 2026 to play. So it's like this is the one chance I'm gonna get. Like I've got one shot at this. Like I'm going no matter what. And I am
hmm
so thankful I did. Like
No,
that environment, and you don't get too many team opportunities in golf. It's a very individual sport, and we'd have team meetings, and you can hang out with your teammates and just do other things, and it was just such a fun experience. Like I can't even put into words how much it means to me looking back on it.
no, that's awesome. Yeah, very special. I mean, especially when you have, USA, you're representing that.
Yeah. It's always good to go out there and represent something way bigger than yourself.
hmm No, indeed. Um, but speaking of team golf, I mean, congrats on, the commitment to Duke.
Thank you.
Um, with with you being class of 2026, well, talk to us about like what are some of the goals you have? Like, what's the vision that Mia has for herself coming up in the future?
Yeah, I know next year I'm going to focus mostly on amateur events to kind of get myself in the mindset for college golf, compete against some more of the competition I'm going to be used to once I get to college. Kind of move away from junior stuff, which I think will be a good transition. So kind of right now, my goal for next year is just to get some experience, and um, moving forward, I'm going to have to become more independent, living on my own and being in college. But I'm just excited for the experience overall. Like I haven't thought a lot ahead for goals, just kind of, we're gonna have a really good team, so a national championship would be awesome. But I just want to have a good college experience. I want to enjoy the girls that I'm playing with, and I know I'm going to. One of my best friends, her name's Avery McCreary. She'll be there this fall. I think her
That's
move-in day is actually,
fantastic.
yeah, I think her move-in day is actually this week, now that I think about it. But yeah, she's amazing. I love playing with her. She was on the Solheim Cup team with me last year. She's an amazing player, an amazing person. So like I said, just the experience and being able to take it all in. And I'm gonna have amazing coaches. I think, Dan Brooks has been there for over 40 years, which is incredible. And um, their professional success in golf has been unmatched. So knowing that I have what it takes around me to get to the next level is super important.
hmm No, that's great. Yeah, really happy for you in that commitment. It's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Um, with I guess, when I was thinking about like goals there, do you set a lot of goals or do you like kind of focus on, hey, 1 week at a time? Like what's your mindset when it comes to that?
I'm pretty half and half. I like to focus on 1 week at a time when I'm in the moment. Like I know I'll take Toledo for example. Like when I was there at that event, I wanted to make sure that my game was in the best shape that it could be for that week, not really like a long-term success thing.
hmm
And I feel like I always normally do that when I come to tournament weeks. Like I don't really look like a month ahead. I look at what's in front of me. Um, and I think a big part of that comes from the past of like that disqualification and focusing like you have to be patient. You have to think 1 week at a time. And you can't really set deadlines for goals because that just puts too much pressure on yourself. So yeah, I do like to set long-term goals. Like I do, but not really for golf. Like I feel like for myself, I know going to Duke, like a big goal of mine is to get a really good education, which is why I picked Duke. And knowing that I'm going to have that as a backup plan just in case something, God forbid something happens and I would need to fall back on that, like that's a long-term goal I have. But with
Hmm.
golf, I'd rather just stick to what's in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Um, this just came to my mind. So, what advice, let's say if there is a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl or boy that's playing well, but then they start to struggle, right? And when they start to struggle, then they start to search a little bit. And I'd always think like searching is way worse than practicing, right? Like even if you're practicing, it's great, but if you start searching, I just think that's when things can kind of get off. But what advice, like, would you tell them if, hey, they a little bit burn out, like fire is just not there in them at that moment? Like, what would you be able to tell them?
Take breaks. Just take time off if you need it. I remember my freshman year, it would have been, I think, 14. I had had I did this like junior academy that is offered at the golf room in Dublin. My dad also works there. Um, and I completed that over the winter when I was in eighth grade. And then I went straight into my summer season, which the academy was, I think, 3 hours every day after school. So like I would leave school and go straight there until like 6:30 every night. And then I would get home and just do homework till 9 o'clock. And that was so exhausting. And then right into tournament season. And then I hit high school golf season, which we had like, I think, three 18-hole matches a week, which was a lot. And by the time I got to the state tournament, I was so burnt out and I was so done. And looking back on that, like I needed a break. I just needed like a break so bad. And which is why I took the past week off because I'm like, I've had this whole summer where it's been nonstop golf. Like I just need more than a day to take off to kind of regroup and not think too far ahead. Again, with the patience thing, like don't focus way ahead in the future. Like make very small goals to set per week. And if you don't meet that goal, just do it again next week. Like it's not like you have to have it done by a certain time. Just make sure it does happen eventually.
Yeah. Way to go, man. That was like a mic drop moment there, man.
Thank you.
So, I mean, it's difficult like in the moment because I always say I just never want somebody to be motivated by guilt. And what I mean by that is I have to be practicing because if I'm not practicing, somebody else is. Well, that's like I get it. Yeah, that's true, but that's again, now that's on somebody else's journey, not your own. And it's difficult sometimes, right? To be able to, hey, I'm just not crisp. Like I know I need to be able to take a break, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a very firm believer in you have to do what's best for yourself, and not everything works for everyone. Golf's a very personalized sport. And again, which is what makes it a good thing about being an individualized sport as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Mia, I always ask this question, but what question should I be asking that I'm not asking? What have I forgotten?
Honestly, I think you've covered everything, to be honest. I'm glad I was able to talk about, the struggles I've had over the past 2 years, year and a half, and being able to reflect to see what I've done personally. I don't get a lot of time to do that. So being able to sit here and kind of just, talk it out has been helpful to me personally. So yeah, I
Oh,
think
good.
you covered everything.
Well, then I guess I did my job. No, I always think like, because again, with golf, I mean, there's always going to be periods of struggle. We don't think there's going to be. We can't anticipate when that's going to happen. But I'm just a firm believer that like we've gone through the past couple of years, that's going to pay off in the future as well.
Mhm.
So, like we never want to be going through it. Like even Rory was talking about it, right? Like he never wants to go through those struggles, but when he can reflect on it, that's the time that he looks at it. Like, I'm glad I went through it because now I'm a better player, a better person just from going through the struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like he said it well too, like the struggles don't make you just a better player. They make you a better person all around. And having those experiences are something that they're more valuable than just a golf.
Yeah. Mia, thank you so much for taking the time, joining us. Yeah, really look forward to it, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed being on the podcast.